Buongiorno YouTube, it's Trevor here, Summit or Nothing. I'm out in the garden today and I've got a new product to review. Now, if you're familiar with the channel, then you'll know that one of my favourite pairs of hiking shoes that I've ever worn was my Columbia Conspiracy Out Dry shoes. I wore them for good 3 years. They was really lightweight, really comfortable. You hardly felt like you were wearing them, but I walked loads of miles on the southwest coast path with them. I've walked over Dartmoor with them, and in the end I just wore them all the time. I do them, you know, wear them on the school run. I was wearing them to work. You know, they really were a great shoe. Here is a quick look at some highlights of my Columbia Out Dry shoes. And today what have I got to look at? It's these hiking shoes. So I bought myself a pair of Colombian Conspiracy 5 Out Dries. Now I was surprised when the box come, it feels so light. It feels almost like there's no shoes in there. Look at that. That's a sexy shoe, isn't it? They've got an out dry waterproof system which keeps your feet ventilated but prevents water from coming in. So that's got to be a bonus when you're out on the trail. Country Walking magazine had a great article all about different hiking shoes. These were their second favourites. So I wore them on my last walk when I'd done 19 miles of the southwest coast path. So let's have a look at me on the coast in my new shiny shoes. Okay, so today I've taken it upon myself to try out some hiking trainers. I don't know if you saw my last video, I mentioned how the boots became really heavy, and I've got this endurance hike coming up, so I thought I'm going to give trainers a go. Already they're so much more lighter. People say about ankle support might end up damaging my ankles, and I've read an article also in Country Walking magazine where people say that you don't need the ankle support. Without it, your ankles will build up the strength. One benefit of having shoes over boots is that it's easier to run in. So on featureless stretches of the coast, to keep up a bit of time, I can jog across them. Every now and again I can just pick up, sprint, I can clamber up rocks. They seem to be quite grippy. Oh, I'm really impressed. But I just wanted to take this time to discuss with you my shoes. I'm wearing the Columbia Conspiracy V. I've had them for over 2 years now, well over 2 years. I think it's about 2.5 years. And I must say, I still love them. I've worn them on endless miles of the coast path. I've worn them across Dartmoor. I've worn them up mountains. I wear them to take the kids to school. I wear them on family days out. They're my favourite shoe I've ever had. They're getting a bit threadbare. The soles are getting a bit bare, and they're possibly not as waterproof as they was, but I wouldn't choose another shoe. I'm going to buy some more. Anyway, they finally gave up the ghost, and I was disappointed to get rid of them. I've tried other shoes in the past. I tried Solomon's because I had a pair of Solomon boots which I quite liked, and so I decided I would buy a pair of the shoes. Unfortunately, when they came, the size was too small, even though it's the size I'd ordered. I never changed them, but I handed them on to Nath because he has a smaller foot, therefore penis. So he's worn them. He says they're still a bit tight even for him, and he's got like a little girly foot, you know, compared to mine. Another pair of shoes that I tried was these from Merrell. Now these were okay, but what did happen, and it wasn't how I put the shoe on. I've put shoes on and off all the time and I've never had this, but the back stoved in all the time, you know. And when I say it's stoved in, you can see it here. It's proper collapsed, and it all sort of hangs down, and it's really uncomfortable. I'm never walking them, but so now these have become my gardening shoe. Anyway, recently Columbia approached me to test out a waterproof jacket, and I said I'd really love to try another pair of your shoes. I said I loved the Colombian Conspiracy Out Dries, but can't get them anywhere. I want another pair. So they sent me a jacket, but they also sent me a pair of a Columbia Facet 75 Mid Out Dry. Now these have cushioning elevated technology, our pinnacle cushioning experience for elevated comfort and smooth transition from heel to toe. They've got Tech Light Plush I don't even know what all these things mean, but sounds good. Again, they are out dry and absolutely waterproof. They've got better grip and better traction. And these are the shoes in question. Now, I haven't given them a good test yet, but I did wear them for a week last week. We was on holiday, and again, where my last Columbia shoes sort of began to fail and I decided I need to get rid of them was when I was walking over Cheddar Gorge. And we was actually on holiday in Somerset, and we was walking over Cheddar Gorge, and I got to test these new Columbia shoes there. We done quite a lot of walking. It was a dog walking holiday. We got a new dog, I'm not sure if you're aware, so every day we'd go out doing a bit of a stomp. I'd put these on. Now again, they came, the box, once they was in there, hardly any weight. They're a little bit heavier than the Columbia Conspiracies, and they're also a little bit taller because they're the mid boot, obviously, but you know, they're quite a cool looking shoe. I quite like them. The tread, again, nice decent tread for walking along on the coast path and that, so I'm looking forward to getting some miles out of these. Yeah, I wore them all last week. They was nice and comfy, a good spring in the step. They do feel a bit wider. I used to drive in my Conspiracies all the time, but driving in these, it's not impossible, but it just feels like you're going to tread on two pedals at the same time, but that's not what they're designed for. They're just a bit wider, really. You know, just 1 week in, and I'm feeling very optimistic that these are going to be my go-to, especially summer, sort of coast walking shoe. However, one thing I have noticed, which I can't quite understand how it's happened, is in just that week of walking, this bit here started to tear up. Now I'm not quite sure how that's happened. It's not like my foot was catching at that point or anything when I looked, which is a bit strange. But then my other Conspiracies, they had like lots of little tears and things all over, and I'm not that precious about things like that. And as long as they're still comfortable and they still work and they're still waterproof, then it's not an issue for me. But that is, yeah, it's just started to unthread, so I'm not quite sure what that's all about. So yeah, I will keep you posted to how they go, but for in the meantime, if you're interested, there will be links below, and yeah, I look forward to trying them out in greater depth. Unfortunately, or probably fortunately, I haven't had the weather to test out the waterproof jacket yet, but when I do, I'll give a review. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Chase and cut.